Because I live in New York, like, I'm very jaded by, like, what conversations families actually have. Like, I think, if anything, we just hope that treating women with respect is, like, a nonpartisan issue, and, like, this movie isn't just about the culture at Fox News. It was the culture at, like, NBC afterward, like, the whole time as well, and, like, that's, like, a democratic organization, but, well, news is nonpartisan, but, you know, anything that we can do to, like, even out, like, the parties and how they just literally put legislation in place to protect women in the workforce is important. I had met Charlize once before I saw her in makeup and hair, and so I knew, like, what she looked like, but pretty much all my interactions with her were in full prosthetics, like the chin and the eyes and everything, and so, like, I knew her as Megyn Kelly during the shooting of this movie, and I played her assistant, so, it's like, seeing this, like, it just proves that, like, what we saw and felt on set is, like, actually what it translates as. The objectification of women is deep. It's not going to be fixed by this movie, but it's going to bring mass awareness, and that's the most important thing.
The kind of fun debate is, wait a minute, how do we feel about conservative women doing this thing, right? Which is something that is complicated and a lot of people are not sure how they feel about, and we just love that, right? Because that's the point. Good things come from complicated people often, and this is an interesting story about people who are the least likely people in the world doing this thing. So that conversation's great, and we're really excited about that. The best thing in the world that we can do is make people feel heard. And, that's, if we can do that, if we can make a few people, who see this film feel like, that's my experience, or it's close to my experience, and someone gets it, that's a great thing. That's a great thing.
Stories about women, female empowerment are very important to me. In general, it's an era where we're having a voice and we're speaking up. I think it's important for us to support in general. I mean, when it's an important topic like the one we're discussing now, and the Me Too movement and female empowerment and feminism, I think it's important for us to all support whether you're part of the cause or not.
We screened the film a lot during post-production, and we found people would hang out for hours talking with us about the film, even as we were trying to figure out what the final form of it should be. And we see that in the screenings here. We've screened it all over the country, and in some cases in red states as well, where conservatives have stayed. One of the most important things that I've seen happen is men stepping forward and saying, we didn't understand this until we watched some of the scenes in the film, especially the scene where Roger harasses Kayla, played by Margot Robbie, and I think that for a man to step forward and say they empathize with that situation and recognize they didn't get that before is pretty remarkable. Especially people on the left might be surprised because they have certain prejudices about people who work at Fox, and that somehow they're all the same, that they all go through things. And some of the women, I think, in this story, especially Gretchen Carlson, they might know them only from a public presentation, and there's so much going on, so much that's very compelling about what they went through and the choice they made to step up and speak out, especially Gretchen. Step forward a year before the big Me Too kind of avalanche that happened after the Harvey Weinstein news. She jumped out and sued one of the most powerful men on earth, and just that move by her alone toppled a king of media. People will be surprised how much they can connect with the risk she took, the price she paid, and the suspense over whether other women would step forward and support her. We can't really solve anything with a movie, but we can tell a story that hopefully gets people to ask, what would I do in that situation? If I was a woman being pushed by my company to attack another woman who dared step up, would I do that just to keep my job? If I was a man and wanted to just get along and go along, would I doubt the accuser, or would I give the accuser the benefit of the doubt? Since almost every accuser, by every statistical measurement, is telling the truth. There are very few false accusations, actually, statistically. So why not err towards benefit of the doubt instead of doubt? So things like that, I hope people will ask questions about those things and talk about them. Just talk about it. Sexual harassment is not a political issue. It's a personal, humane issue. It's just like, shouldn't people be safe at work? Should people be allowed to be coerced into doing really things that just have nothing to do with how they want to live and suffer abuse? Shouldn't people be safe from not suffering abuse? But especially women in these particular kinds of situations. When a man walks up and says, I just didn't know, and now I feel like I've seen men actually become emotional and sort of say, oh my God, I didn't get it, and now I get a little bit of it. That's been really moving. We find journalists to be very funny people, bizarrely. They're partly because they're coping with so much hardship. They see so much. They're almost like doctors and nurses in hospitals. They see so much horrific behavior by people, and to just cope with it, they end up joking with each other. So you get Kate McKinnon to play opposite Margot Robbie in a few scenes early in the movie, and you're probably going to hook people into just the wit and sense of irony and humanity of two amazing women.
I'm very proud to be a part of Bombshell. I feel like just even from the point that I read the script and I saw this story coming together and realizing how determined everyone was to tell this story. You know that the audience is going to have an experience that could really make them think or really touch them in a particular way. And my hope is that when women see this, they feel like there's hope that if we band together and if we stand together and we tell the truth, that we will get each other through this, and that we will continue to be able to fight the good fight and really make the world a place that's equal for everyone. The women that went through all of this and who really stood up together to make this change, they were incredibly courageous, and I can't imagine how emotional and how difficult it would have been in real life to go through all of those things. So I really admire them, and I feel really lucky to have been a part of telling the story.
I'm just so proud to be a part of this project on all sorts of levels. It's a wonderfully made film with just full of great actors, and I've taken away all sorts of friends for life from the experience, including a lot of people that I've worked with before. Just a great repertory company of our really good film actors. It's just a story that is resonating so much. I mean, the fact that people are talking about it so much and turning out to see it on its first weekend by the thousands and thousands, it just shows how urgent and compelling this story is right now. That's what makes me proud. You don't often get that experience in a movie, doing something that's both very good and very important. That's what makes me proud. This is a story about heroes that started it all.
I really connected with it and with her humor and with her attitude, and I just loved playing this part so much. And I mean, just the opportunity to be in this movie with these people. Holy crap. Margot is the best, the smartest, the funniest, the kindest. We got to improvise a lot in our scenes, and she's an amazing improviser, and we just had the most fun in the world. And then when it came time for her to be serious, she is just the most mind-blowing actress in the universe, and I just, I can't believe I just got to be there while she was doing it. It was wild. Really cool stuff, you guys. Really good stuff. Well, I think it speaks to something that we need to keep the conversation going about, and that's very important. And I think the tone is really interesting. It is so serious, and there are moments of levity that augment the seriousness of it, and I just think it's a really important, incredible film, and I hope everybody sees it. I hope that people start a conversation about the way that these things are dealt with within corporations, and I think a lot of people, everyone I've talked to has taken something different from it and has been inspired by it.
The hope, with making a film like this, aside from being entertaining, is that the conversation can hopefully make some, after watching it, after viewing it, after hopefully thinking about it, talking about it, can make some, look at things a little differently and hopefully with a better point of view than perhaps they had in the past. I run a company called Bron Studios, and for me, historically, and my wife, the two of us are partners. It's a husband-wife team, and for us, it's always been about telling important stories and shining a light on stories that need to be talked about, hopefully in a very commercial way, and we've done exactly that here with this picture. But this is a subject matter that needs to be discussed, a subject matter that needs to have a light shine on it, and the hope in making it in such an entertaining way is that it will allow certain people who are uncomfortable with this kind of subject matter to watch something, learn something, talk about something, and hopefully be impacted by it.
When Jay invited me to write the song for the film was still not even made yet, and I started to. He's such a beautiful person, and he's such a brilliant director that I just told him that whatever he does and whenever he does, I'd love to watch it and take it in. When I saw the film at his house, it was so touching and so hilarious at the same time, and it felt really important. So I'm just very grateful that I got to, write a song for it. It felt really just wonderful to be a part of it.
I am so excited that this movie was finally made. I think this is one of the most important movies of the next generation because this is really a game changer for women. I think women all over the world are going to see this movie. They're going to go stand up for themselves. And what happened to me isn't going to happen to them. I mean, this is a really important time for women. And I'm so glad that two men, one man wrote it, Charles wrote it, and another man directed it, Jay directed it, and this movie turned out to be so sensitive to what we women are going through in the workforce. And until we get this message out there, this isn't going to change. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited that this movie was made. It was really hard to watch, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've seen it twice already and my knuckles were white. It was just so emotional for me, and it was extremely well made. So it was nice to see Megan acknowledged, Gretchen acknowledged for the women they are and the movement they've started. And it was nice to be able to watch them in action and be rewarded for what they did, because it wasn't easy then, it wasn't easy when I went through it, and to see that finally somebody's acknowledging something that they've done and really spreading the message to the world was important for me. I have a little sister and I always worry about her because of what happened to me, and I just believe again that this is a game changer for women everywhere. Women are going to see this, they're going to start standing up for themselves, and that's what's really important. All these incredible actors and actresses getting together, I mean, what an A-list cast, an incredible cast. So yeah, it's very entertaining. I hope they all get Oscars, they really deserve it.